Hi, I'm the Mythology Guy, and I'm here with...
Wilda, the Asian representation.
Yeah, we just saw Turning Red. It's not 100% mythology-based, but it is very culture-based, and it's kind of got its own mythology that's a little inspired by other mythologies, so we're counting it, okay? We're going to count it. And I'm really glad I watched it with you. It made it a whole lot more fun, because you were picking up on stuff I wasn't picking up on in the movie, because probably more the target audience, but I still loved it. I love Pixar, I love movies like this, and so this movie's free on Disney Plus. The basic concept is, like, there's this Asian girl. If you've seen the trailer, you know this. There's an Asian girl, she lives a very high-pressure life, and suddenly she starts turning into a huge red panda.
Pretty much.
Very strange concept, but a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah. No, we were sold from the trailer. Like, after I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks like a lot of fun. I want to see it.
Yeah, I remember you were like, I want to see it. And I was like, all right, let's watch it. And we were actually ready to go watch it in theaters, but it was free on Disney Plus. I was like, cool. All right,
we go to the free.
I find it weird.
That's actually very Asian. No, we're not going to spend money. We're going to do the free.
That's the hidden genius of the movie to get to the Asian demographic.
Sure.
I don't know, but I had a lot of fun as someone who's really into, like, cultural stuff like that, and like little statues of red pandas, and there is a, like, explanation behind it, which we'll get to in spoilers. But overall, I did enjoy this movie. I was never bored watching this movie.
Yeah.
This movie made me laugh several times.
You know, this film is a perfect example of a really animated film.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the facial expressions, like, every moment was like...
It felt like they were crossing the line between American animation and anime a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And I'm sure that was on purpose.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, and this movie takes place in 2002, by the way, which I didn't realize until the very end because they say it at the end. But that's why there's a freaking Tamagotchi in the movie.
I hate Tamagotchis. So high maintenance. But anyway.
Yeah, and it just adds to the main character's high... You know she's living a high-pressure life when one of the things she does is take care of a Tamagotchi.
If you know, you know. Those freaking little demons.
Yeah. There's some weird criticisms against this movie. Like, you found some... And I also saw some people who were saying, oh, the characters aren't relatable. The characters aren't interesting. I think these characters are very interesting, honestly.
Right.
Like,
and why weren't they relatable?
I mean, I guess they weren't relatable to some people because this is very Asian culture.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I guess in this country, the majority of the audience is not going to be Asian, but there's also a lot of Asians, and also a lot of us, like, I've grown up with Asian friends, and, you know, you in my life and stuff. I didn't grow up with you in my life, but I've had you in my life, and I see it, honestly. I see those nods to the Asian culture. I remember looking at you and being like, oh, is that, like, a familiar thing? And, like, yeah.
Right. And I'm happy. I'm really happy. I think that there's kind of a trend in more Asian representation in general. Like, I think it kind of started with Crazy Rich Asians, and then in, what's that Marvel one?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
there's a bit of a rise of Asian stuff going
like,
on, which is great, because it's being done well.
Yeah, because I grew up, you know, and I don't have anything against it. It is what it is.
How dare you? It began with Jackie Chan.
Oh, yes!
How dare you?
I know, but then there was a gap.
Credit to Crazy Rich.
But then there was a gap, you know? But, like, yeah, I think, look, I'm not all gung-ho about represent, but, like, I have been noticing, like, kind of casually that, oh, and also remember that short before
Bao, the
yeah,
dumpling baby.
Yeah, the dumpling baby.
That was such a cute short.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like in general there's a little more attention in Asian representation, which, you know what I mean, I think it's kind of cool because, yeah, I grew up with a lot of stories there. Yeah, it's like white characters or whatever, and it doesn't matter. I still love them, but it's cool to see that there's, like, more of it these days. And so I think when people say, oh, it's not relatable, well, what about us Asian Americans watching white stories our whole life, and
you
know?
Like, were you relating to Black Panther and the Wakandan sci-fi fantasy land?
Right,
Or were you
and-
relating to, as you pointed out, like in that thing you saw, like, were you relating to cars?
Yes,
were you relating to
were
the
you
cars
relating to
with
these
faces?
cars with eyeballs in front? Like, oh wow.
In my opinion, relatability is a bonus. It's not a necessity in a movie. And this movie's a ton of fun. It doesn't need to be relatable for me, but also there are things I recognize because I've seen some Asian culture, and so that's an added bonus for me.
Right,
I,
right.
I had fun with that.
But I do understand that it's like not relatable, because here's the thing, while it didn't necessarily 100% represent like my childhood
Yeah,
either.
of
See, and
course.
I'm Asian.
No movie does.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it's like I could see themes of my friends' lives. Like my best friend is Chinese Filipino, and like I was like, oh my god, this is your mother. This is your mom, and this is you.
There's a mother character in the movie.
Yeah. So it's like I think that, yeah, it's not relatable in that sense, but it's like, so what? You know, that doesn't mean you can't relate to the characters' feelings. You know what I mean? Even if on the outward they look different or their lifestyle is different from you, that doesn't, like, you know, we all, like, I'm sure a lot of people grew up feeling like a lot of pressure, you know, especially Asian children, like, you know, trying to just be on top of everything. And so, you know what I mean? If you can't relate to how a character looks or their lifestyle, maybe you can at least relate to their emotions, you know?
You know, and on top of that, what's funny is a lot of people were, I don't think a lot, but some people were saying, oh, the characters aren't pretty enough for me. You know, also, shouldn't that be more relatable then?
Yeah, do we need to have some humble tea?
Also, how hot were the characters in Monsters, Inc.?
Yeah.
I can play this game all day. I've seen every Pixar.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that actually makes the movie more relatable.
Yeah, it's
you know?
cute.
Yeah. Like, okay, the characters aren't pretty enough, but isn't that like good that we have like some movies where, yeah, the characters look like not like supermodels or whatever, like they're more average looking or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Like
I think that's a good thing.
the characters in this movie, like, I feel they remind me of people I knew growing up, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of my favorite was the Korean girl.
I know!
The Korean girl, she's like, I think she's supposed to be the comic relief, but she's nailing it. She's so funny.
She's intense.
She's intense. She's very intense, and someone I would probably be friends with in real life.
She's great.
Yeah, so there's one thing I will say about this movie. Sometimes Pixar can surprise people with what the moral or the lesson is. I knew what the lesson was going to be in the first 2 minutes. I think we all did. Anyone who's seen this, did you know what the lesson was going to be right away?
Oh, well, yeah, when I saw, like, her relationship with her mom.
Yeah, like, it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty obvious what it's going to be, but it's not a bad lesson.
But it's still told in a charming way.
Yeah. Honestly, it is told in a charming way, and it's not a boring movie. I didn't think it dragged at all. I was having fun the whole movie. There's a boy band in the movie, and you were looking up the music after.
Damn, gotta expose me like that. You know, it's funny.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I know, it's okay. This is my time. But yeah, it's pretty funny because when I saw the boy band, I'm like, it's BTS. It's pretty much just like inspired from like freaking BTS, and of course,
again?
14.
It was weird. They were called like 4 something, but there's 5 of them. I said, why are they called 4 if there's 5 of them? And then the mom says the exact same thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're not like a complete mirror of BTS, but you know what I mean? Because like BTS is like such a hype Asian boy band right now. I'm like, the inspiration, you know? And actually, my best friend was telling me there's like conspiracy theories on like Twitter that one of the characters, you don't know this, but one of the characters looks like Jimin, who is someone from BTS and stuff.
Jimin, I know Jimin because there's
Jimin.
Well, regardless, there's some guy who paid like $50,000 to make himself look like him.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
God.
Yeah. But it's so funny too, though, because they're not just like BTS-y, but they also remind me of like boy bands that like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, you know.
I really think it drew inspiration from all of it.
Yeah, so that's fun. And yes, I have been listening to the boy band music, but it's because it reminds me of the film, but it's also a little catchy.
Yeah. As a big myth guy, when you find out, and I'll get into this more in spoilers, but when you find out why she's turning into a panda and the origin behind it, a part of me was thinking, God, I wish that was the movie a little bit, and I'll talk about it a little more
What do you mean?
in spoilers. I'll tell you in spoilers
okay.
what I'm talking about. But still, this like, it was a lot of fun when she'd turn. They make like a period joke about her turning into the panda, which, you know, a part of me thinks was. What was I going to say? Something, whatever. I think they kind of were self-aware that the movie is called Turning Red, and it's about a 13-year-old in school going through a change. It's like, you know, I'll bet some people might have thought, oh, it's a metaphor for being on your period.
I thought it was a metaphor for being angry.
Yeah, it is a metaphor for being angry. It's a metaphor for hitting your breaking point and stuff. But yeah, I think some people may have connected it to that, and so I think the movie just kind of owned that with that joke they made during the film. Oh, red. Oh, you're going through a change. Oh my god.
Right.
But yeah, overall, a lot of fun. I'll say more stuff in the spoilers section. But what would you give this, like, would you recommend this movie to people?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And actually, it's what I loved. I wanted to show this immediately to my best friend. And what I like about it is, even though it's technically about, like, yeah, this girl entering puberty, basically. Honestly, with the mother, the cultural part of it, with like the whole mom expectation, family pressure, and all that. Honestly, I think that's still very relatable to Asian children who are grown. You know, that doesn't just die out, right?
I had a friend in college who would talk about the pressure his parents.
Yeah, I know, and I know people today. Like, I'm 28 right now. Like, I know people today who still deal with the cultural family pressure of like trying to be the perfect child in a way. So, you know, like, when I was watching this film, I'm like, oh my god, I have to show this to a certain person, you know, because I feel like, oh my god, this film will liberate you, it'll empower you, you know, like, it's okay.
Yeah, I do know at least one of your friends, I think, would really get something from this film.
Yeah. Actually, several when I think about it.
All right, well, that's good, honestly. And see, that's probably what the movie was going for. So I think the movie, if that's what you think, and I guess we'll see if we show it to them.
Right.
I think the movie accomplished what it set out to do, and it's a good movie. Like, I don't know if it's doing super well. I've seen the views for like the boy band songs. They're like in, I don't know if I saw 100 million. Like they're up there, or at least 20 million. Well, maybe
like
the movie's popping in Asian countries. Maybe that's what's going on. Which is good. Very good.
I'm gonna look that up.
Very good.
But yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't charge us $30 to watch this on Disney Plus.
Right.
That would have been annoying. Mm-hmm. Let's see, how many views we have?
So Nobody Like You, its views, the song is at, over 300,000.
Well, that's for the whole playlist.
Oh, okay.
But still, 300 something.
Wait, Turning Red.
We're trying to see how many views this boy band song
17M, 1 month ago.
17 million views in a month.
See,
okay,
that's
well, there
what I
you
was
go.
saying, like,
there
it's
you
a
go.
lot.
I'm going to assume the movie's doing okay.
Yeah, not too bad.
But what would you give this movie out of 10?
I would say probably 8. Like, I think, you know what I mean? It's a fun film. You know, like, if you have the chance to watch it, because I think you're going to have a good time. And especially if you're Asian. Watch it. So I give it an 8. I recommend it.
See, this is why I brought you here. You can say that. I can't.
Say what?
You know.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, I'm between a 7 and an 8. And
7.5.
Because 7 is good. 8 is great. So I'm somewhere in there. Like
7.5.
I don't. If you know, fuck it, I'll cheat. Yeah, let's say 7.5 because I did like the film, but I'm comparing it to other Pixar movies. Like I wouldn't put it in my top 5 Pixar movies. Obviously, my number 1 is Incredibles. Yeah, I know you don't like it as much as I do, but the rest of the world does. There's stuff like Incredibles, Toy Story, Monsters Inc. I really liked Coco, and but this is still a really good one. This is better than some other Pixar movies. I like this better than the Cars movies. Some of the
Actually,
other ones.
all of these you're naming, I'm like, I like Monsters Inc. and I like this.
Well, there you go. You like movies with monsters in them. This
Actually,
one had
yes.
a giant red panda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we think. Watch it if you have Disney Plus. Why not? You might as well. It's a good movie to show the kids. It's
fun.
Apparently a really good movie if you're Asian, and I'm white and I liked it. So that's our final verdict on the movie. We're gonna go into spoilers now. Okay?
Spoilers!
So you have been warned. Spoiler alert. Okay, there we go. All right. So it turns out she turns into a panda because it's like a family thing. Like it's been passed down through the generations. And when they what I was talking about earlier, when they talked about, our ancestor long ago, while her husband was away, she was granted the gift to turn into a giant red panda to fight off invaders. I was like, oh God, I want to watch that movie. I want to watch the kaiju red panda battle armies.
Oh, maybe they'll make a sequel for you.
We do get a kaiju red panda in this, but it's in a different way, but it was still a lot of fun. That's kind of where the mythical element comes in. I don't know of a mythology story that's close to that, but hey, I applaud the creativity.
And actually, yeah, and it's cute because weren't you saying, like, why aren't there any panda myth stories? This is like a modern one.
I feel like this movie answered my, like, why are there no panda myths? There's one. There's the myth of how the panda got its black colors.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
But that's it. There's no panda gods or panda monsters.
How did it?
You're
the mythology
it's
guy.
It's a long story. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But yeah, we finally got a panda myth. Yay, a destructive
I had a
panda
dark
myth.
thought. What if it was because the panda would get beat up and then the bruises eventually became
Oh my
permanent?
God, that is not why!
Like, they were like, and then, it just became part of the panda.
You sick woman. You need to stop. You need to take those thoughts out to the streets.
Like where the panda was when it got beat
Stop
up?
it! You monster. Anyway, yeah. Also, one reason I like the characters in this movie, this girl has the best friends in the world.
Yeah, she does.
Like,
they're so sweet.
Like, they see that she's turned into a panda, and they're like, okay, what do you need? And later, it's like she shows up, like they have a plan, and she's not able to fulfill the plan. They're like, what about the plan? She goes, look, just trust me on this. And they go, okay, what do you need? I'm like, my God, I need friends like this.
I know! We all need friends like her friends.
Her friends are just the most trusting, like, got your back, supportive, sweet, like... And that's why during the film, like... when she needs to regain control, she just thinks about her wonderful, perfect, above cloud 9 friend group, and it can always pull her back. Because she turns into the panda when she's angry, like when she loses control. And yeah, they said, like, oh, you weren't supposed to start turning into the panda this early. Like, in our family, every woman eventually starts turning into the panda, but it usually happens later. And... like, what I was thinking is, it happened earlier for her because there's so much pressure in her life is probably what happened. They never really confirmed that, though.
Maybe. And actually,
So
that's biologically accurate also for women. Like, some people are like, early bloomers, right? And then other girls, like, bloom later.
Girls mature faster than boys.
Well, I mean, but even among themselves, it's like some are like earlier, some are later. So that's accurate.
And one thing I could tell, by the way, early on, when they said, okay, so what we need to do is we need to take the panda spirit out of you and put it into a totem. I was like, she's going to have the panda spirit at the end. One is, I could tell, like, you're not going to permanently get rid of that. And two, once the mom was like, see, this is my totem, my panda spirit's in here. I'm like, you going to break that. You going to break that thing. And it does get broken later. And the mom's panda is Gojira. Yeah. That was great. That was one of the best parts of the film.
That mom be like, dishonor!
How dare you disobey me?
Asian moms be like, yeah.
Yeah, so the mom is very overbearing. That's established very quickly.
But I do like that they don't have like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like she clearly loves her mom. And look, the mom is overbearing, but you know what I mean? She clearly really loves her daughter.
It's like, it's out of love. They established that pretty quick. Because whenever the mom is coming in and being overbearing, like she's not being mean to her daughter. She's embarrassing her daughter, but you can tell she legit thinks she's doing what's best for her daughter.
Yeah.
And one of the problems is her daughter isn't telling her what she's doing wrong because her daughter loves her too and she wants to make her proud and she doesn't want to disappoint her mom. So it's a very difficult situation. That's why I don't know if I would call this a toxic relationship. I don't think I would.
I think boundaries are needed.
It's a relationship that's really lacking communication. That's the problem.
Communication and boundaries.
So obviously that's the lesson. You need to voice when, things are too much for you and you need to have a more open, communicative relationship with your mom. Right. And that kind of stuff.
And it's commentary on, just the Asian culture in general of, kids just feeling that they need to be perfect. I mean, I've had my own share of that, and, And I love it because it's because I remember some of the controversy, or at least, I don't know, maybe it's fake or something, but at least some people out there are like, don't show this to your children. Look at that, you know what I mean? Like the main character becomes this little rebel thing. And you know what I think? All the more should you show your children. Your children should sneak away and watch this behind your back so that they can feel like, there can be another life for me. I don't have to be a perfect child.
Honestly, yeah.
I love it. This is for parents like you.
Yeah. I personally, one of my few wishes is I wish they had gone a little deeper into the reveal of the mom realizing she's been too hard on her daughter. That was one thing. That's one thing I wish, because she does realize it, but it seems to happen really quickly, and then she says one sentence about it. It's just I'm sorry if I was too hard on you, and that's it. I'm I really wish there had been more of a heartfelt, I didn't realize how hard I was pushing you. I didn't realize I was
Actually, that would have been great.
I was embarrassing you. And I just loved you and I wanted you to turn out as wonderful as possible, and and the daughter's I just wanted you to be proud of me, and then the mom could be I am proud of you, and I thought it was building up to something like that, and we didn't really fully get that. That's one of the things that held it back from being an 8 for me. Yeah, so I wish there had been a little more time on that.
Now you want me to wish that had happened. Because obviously we see the struggle of the girl, but it would have been really nice. Because look, here's the thing. Look, I joke that, kids should run away and watch this movie, but I can also get, culturally, Asian parents just want their kids to, have the best life possible. But the thing is, generations are different. Generations, what a former generation had as their opportunities and their lifestyle and stuff, the next generation is going to have more or different opportunities.
Yeah, it's like that thing Gary Vee said, parent based on the past, not based on
exactly,
the future.
exactly. So I think that would have been a really nice moment, because as much as, I'm pro all the kids should sneak and watch this, I think that would have been a good mirror for the parents who feel uncomfortable from this film. Yeah, just to relate to them more, that it's okay if your kid follows a different path. Yeah. Because I feel in the Asian culture, it's so much about, you know what I mean? In my own family, I've dealt with, it's not so much, are you happy? It's more of, are you safe? Are you successful? Are you, it's not about, what will fulfill me. Yeah. So, and I think that's a message that more Asian kids should be and parents should be more open-minded to, what would actually make your kid feel like their best life and make them happy.
Did you notice, by the way, when the daughter, I can't remember the main character's name, I feel bad, but the daughter was hiding all the red panda life she was living under the bed. You notice she was also hiding under the bed, papers where she got a B.
That's so funny.
See, it's dishonor. Don't let mom see.
That's so funny.
And they never drew it. It was just there, and I saw it. And I was I see what you did there.
That's funny.
Yeah. Literally one of the first lines of the movie is something there is no greater honor than to be a perfect child for your parents. And I love the dad character. character. You remember those moments where, like, the dad's just in the background with no authority at all? And it's like, Mom, why don't you just hang out with Dad? And Dad's like, huh? And the mom's like, nonsense, I'll go with you. And I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah. You know, I saw something in an article saying, like, why is the dad like that? But, you know, I mean, I think... suddenly I'm remembering, there was, like, this book that I think was, like, a bestseller when I was a teenager. It was called Tiger Mom. And so, yeah, I mean, if the mom be like that... I can imagine the father being like a little more, you know what I mean? Kind of the opposite, the yin to her yang in a sense.
Plus, it's also wholesome when you remember the reason the mom turned into a panda was because her mother didn't approve of her husband.
Right.
And she wanted to be with him, so she turned into the giant panda.
Oh.
It's like, when you think about that, it's like, oh, the dad must feel so good to know that she literally went kaiju to be with him. She loved him that much. That's cute.
That's wholesome.
That's very wholesome. Yeah. So yeah, like, is there anything I didn't cover? Talked about the Friends, boy band. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with this movie?
This is what I have off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's about it. I like the characters. I like the main character. I thought she was a very interesting main character. There was a lot to her. She was trying so hard to be perfect, and you could see, like, the twitch in her, like, just like, I can't keep doing this.
Right.
Especially while her mom comes in and humiliates her in front of everyone, and then thinks she did a good thing. She literally afterwards says, "Thank goodness I was there for you."
Right. And you know, good on what was it, Pixar?
Pixar.
Yeah. And yeah, I know that there were, like, people who were like, oh, it's not relatable, shut up. But,
I related more to those toys.
Yeah, I related to, like, fucking Buzz Lightyear.
I mean, you probably did, but, you know, you're not a toy, so if you can relate to that, I feel like you can see some relation.
And here's the thing, like, I was touching on, like, there's more Asian representation, but it would be cool, like, I mean, like, Coco, right? That was, like, Mexican.
Coco, did you relate to Coco if you're not Mexican? I mean, there was a lot of Mexican traditions and stuff going on. Right. It was very interesting and very nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, like, good on, that's Pixar, too, right? Yeah, bravo, Pixar! Yeah. Like, yeah, I think more more stories from different cultures in a, you know, coming of age film or whatever. I think that this is really good and adds, like, I'm not one to say this term a lot, but I think it's great, like, adds diversity in, like, in the whole media spectrum.
I think Pixar's doing diversity right, honestly.
Yes!
Because they're not tokening it, they're really going into the culture and, like, learning about it, in my opinion, like, best I can tell.
Asian approved. You get an A, yeah, it's
like,
true.
I loved Coco. I really liked Soul. Remember the movie about the black musician who dies? Yeah, that was another, like, diversity.
Cultural?
Well, it's not cultural, but it's soul music, which is a black style of music. Right. So that is technically diversity.
Okay, yeah.
So and now we've got this one. I wonder what they'll go into next.
Yeah, so keep it up, Pixar.
Keep it up. You're rocking it. Like, I haven't seen any of these and been like, oh, you didn't even try. No, I haven't been like that. So you know, I'm enjoying it, and I'm down with this rise of, like, the Asian culture. I loved Shang-Chi. You can go see our discussion video on that.
Loved it, same.
That was a great fucking movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like...
Ooh, I hope they do, like, a Korean kid or something sometime.
They just did in this one.
No, I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about. They'll give her own spin-off movie.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, good movie, and I think that's really all we have to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm the Mythology Guy. That was kind of sort of a myth-related movie, and a very pleasant one. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.